Fast fashion profits were $36.4 billion in 2020. And on the graph on the right, you can see that they had a 12.5% growth in fast fashion brands compared to a 5% growth in global apparel and footwear. This rapid growth, as seen in the previous slide, comes at a drastic cost. And most do not know that according to Cedar Surf, 60% of all clothing made is landfilled or incinerated in 1 year, and 80% of garment workers are women. My question is, over the past 30 years, how has groupthink and fast fashion in the United States and Bangladesh negatively impact the global system? My argument is groupthink and fast fashion in the United States and Bangladesh negatively impact the global system through environmental effects, social effects, and human health effects. Fast fashion negatively affects the environment. For instance, by 2050, it is projected that there are 300 million tons of oil and microfibers added and used up, as well as 26% of carbon emissions released. As a result of businesses maximizing their profits, we see that they're manufacturing from the fiber production with 2 trillion tons of total water use, and manufacturing, which produces 80 billion pieces of clothing materials manufactured every year. This ultimately contributes to the 2 million tons of waste per year and 2.1 million tons of CO2 annually. Consumers demand, as we can see, consumers are influenced by others. According to this quote, it says, consumers are increasingly interested in fashion and appearance, desire newness and variety, and shop frequently. Much of H&M's clothing is so inexpensive, a $10 leopard print top or $15 sweater, for example, that consumers can afford to buy it in quantities. So as you can see, these products are cheap and you can buy them in a large quantity. And as a result, the time that they wear the clothing is very fast. And this leads to 235 million items of clothing sent to landfills per year. Additionally, according to College Board Source 1, we can see that those who are affected by the total population and try to fit in leads to them trying to buy products that seem cool. And this ultimately leads to the fast fashion's products also seen in College Board Source 4, which ultimately leads to businesses prioritizing quick fast fashion. Social effects. Textile workers in Bangladesh are drastically affected. As seen on the graph on the left, in Bangladesh, the apparel sector wage in 2018 was less overall compared to China, India, Turkey, Indonesia, and Cambodia. Not only are wages low, but they work in unethical conditions. For instance, according to the University of Washington, in the Rana Plaza Dhaka garment factory, workers were requesting examination of the building's integrity far before the collapse. The Rana Plaza incident ended up taking 1,135 lives and injured 2,500 individuals. Moreover, female workers are victims of this atrocity. Fast fashion businesses go to other countries looking for the cheapest work, and women who are naturally inferior get the bottom end of the stick. As we can see in this graph, there's a 400,000 difference between ready-made clothing garments and female workers employed in millions. Last, the health of workers are detrimentally affected. According to the ILO, 1,134 garment workers lost their life in the collapse of a textile factory in Dhaka, Bangladesh in 2013. 114 people were killed in a fire at the Bangladeshi firm in Tazreen Fashions in 2013. So as you can see, furthermore, we can see repetitively that the demand for clothing and making profits is at the top of the hierarchy. And at the bottom, it leads to the cost of goods and workers, as well as the environment. The first solution is to change the mindset of consumers to think of garments as resourceful and valuable rather than thinking it is disposable. The limitation is that it is difficulty changing clothing preferences. And the second solution, which is the best solution, is to encourage for businesses to start incorporating biodegradable clothing. However, this is very expensive to fund. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
I do have 2 questions for you. First up, how'd your research question evolve as you moved through the process of your research?
So initially I chose my topic about fast fashion affecting the global system because it had a wide range of resources for me to research. But then I try to focus more on Bangladesh so it could be more specific and not generalized.
All right, and what advice would you have for other people that consider this topic in the future?
I would advise to, focus on one area more specifically, because then you can take a more specific look. I feel like some of the statements that I made might have been like generalized, where I could have been more specific and had more specific research if I chose like the environment or human health specifically.
You are done, my